This is D-Day Cueva News broadcasting live here in the city of Santa Maria. I'm David Cueva, here reporting live here. You can see here from my first here. I mentioned a couple of times, but this ADU almost will be completed by the year, with 2026 being the year. Back out live here, the new flooring of the ADU. I probably mentioned here a couple of times, but this ADU here almost been completed by the year, with obviously catered. Still pending the approval here, but the ADU will be completed. Movers will be able to move in here, and the Pacific Crest Estate would build this ADU, this whole entire neighborhood was built in 2005 here in the city of Santa Maria. It used to be called Rose Garden. But I think to Pacific Crest when they bought this whole area here in the city of Santa Maria, that's including houses over there as well, with the original house which is the front of this ADU located here at 1711 Adler Court here in the city of Santa Maria. The ADU here, it's almost been completed here. Final approval will be throughout the kitchen as well with electricity. But once the ADU will be completed here, it will be a phase of the new ADU, which will be located here in the Pacific Crest here, of course. This is the developing story as I previously mentioned. We've been bringing you guys the story from the beginning of time here since we broadcast this ADU here. Now this is the final approval of the ADU, which will be, if you need things like this, movers will be able to move in here as soon as this completion will be done, and this ADU will not be open to the public. If you have any questions on this case, you can always visit D-Day Cueva or D-Day Cueva News on YouTube. And a little bit of history on the neighborhood here. The neighborhood was previously called Rose Garden, but Rose Garden moved with the Pacific Crest, and this neighborhood was built in 2005 here in the Pacific Crest Estate. This whole neighborhood was built in 2005, where would be included the newly houses here, as well as the other areas of the Pacific Crest. Pacific Crest is located here. Their housing is right here by the Pacific Crest. This is also part of the Pacific Crest Estate here, as well as 1711 Adler Court. 1711 Adler Court, it's all part of the Pacific Crest Estate, and they were housing here back in 2005 when they built the location. But this ADU was built pretty shortly ago, about 2 years ago here, and now it's been a month and a half since they built this ADU. There've been other ADUs that have been built in the area. One ADU will be the other ADU that will be a front of the house here at the Pacific Crest Estate that I previously mentioned here. This ADU will be taking an update, and then if you go down the hallway here and you see that door right there, that door leads to an ADU here, which will be right here. And I previously mentioned this ADU with the former garage here at the Pacific Crest Estate. We've been doing a lot of videos about this too, from a couple of videos too. Back out live here in the Pacific Crest Estate, so you can hear a lot of noise. But this whole neighborhood that we're standing in was built in 2005 here at the Rose Garden Pacific Crest. This house was also built here and have formerly garage, but this garage was converted to an ADU back in like 2 years ago back then. If you have any questions on this case, please visit D-Day Cueva or DDayCuevaNews.com, and you can see the beautiful neighborhood here that Pacific Crest has gardens. I want to give you a little bit of history on the neighborhood. The neighborhood was built in 2005, formerly was called Rose Garden, but they changed it to Pacific Crest back in 2005. This whole area was here, and they take around this whole area as well as the housing here, project here. But this ADU was built 2 years ago here. As I previously mentioned, here was a former garage here, but the garage was converted into an ADU, and it would currently be rented. But new movers will be able to come in that area once we have the final leasing agreement here at the ADU. If you have any questions on the case, please visit D-Day Cueva or D-Day Cueva News that I previously mentioned. Back our life here, also clean out this house right here. This housing was also built in 2005. The whole neighborhood was built in 2005 rather. Not this particular house, but this whole neighborhood would include that house right there as well as every other house in the neighborhood. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe for more information. Obviously, we don't do a lot of build of ADUs, but people like ADUs and they like the history behind this conversion project. If there's a lot of ADUs that will be built in the neighborhood, we're not going to tell you how many ADUs, but there's another ADU right over there now, kind of like that brown kind of house right by that white truck. That's an ADU that was completed, but we're not going to go over there because there's people living in that ADU. The ADU is one of the ADU that people are living in this area. If you have any questions of the theme, please visit, or that ADU will be rented by this month. After the approval will be conducted. And then back out live here, this whole area was grass here. Was a tree here back in the day that we go on tree view. This house had a tree right here, but that tree been demolished and now it's just grass here located here at the Pacific Crest. That poor part will be also leaving as well from the ADU. And I mentioned before a couple of times on my reel, there used to be a garage here. And you can see from the marking that there used to be a garage. They closed this intersection off, so this ADU will be converted. And we have a lot of reels of this ADU when it was converted. And now it's a big empty place here with a living affordable place. Back out live here, here's a hallway that will lead to the ADU. That door, one of the ADUs was the garage door. And we love talking about ADUs because ADUs is one of the conversion projects that's going on in the city, not just in the Pacific Crest, but mostly around the city. If you have any questions about this ADU conversion, please call me at 805-260-9393, or you can always visit DJ Cueva or DJCuevaNews.com. Live in the studio, DJ Cueva, DJ Cueva News.